Hi everyone, welcome to the part 2 of definition. In this section, we'll be discussing in detail about the GAAP, that is Generally Accepted Accounting Principle. Second topic we'll be covering is GAO, that is Governmental Accountability Office. Third, we'll be covering IASB, which is International Accounting Standard Board. Fourth, we'll be covering GAAS, that is Generally Accepted Auditing Standard. And next we'll be covering SAS, which is Statement of Auditing Standard. And then after we'll be covering SSARS, which is Statement of Standard for Accounting and Review Services. And then after we'll be covering Government Auditing Standard, which is also called Yellow Book. And the last topic in the definition we'll be covering Attestation Engagement. Let's dive into.
Okay, so next one is applicable financial reporting framework. So we discuss about financial reporting framework, and in short, we all know like kind of US GAAP, IFRS, or special purpose reporting framework. But what exactly these financial reporting framework and why it has been important, right? Financial reporting framework are basically the framework accepted and adopted by the management and those charged with governance, right? And they take the responsibility for the preparation and fair presentation of the financial statement in according to those respective framework, whether it's like US GAAP, it's IFRS, or maybe it's if they have like company in India, then IND-AS, right? Or if they are following any specific law or specific purpose accounting, then special purpose framework. So whatsoever the framework, the management need to accept and adopt that framework, and then they need to take the responsibility to ensure the preparation and fair presentation of the financial statement according to those respective framework, right? These financial reporting framework are actually a set of criteria used to determine like measurement, recognition, presentation, disclosure of all material facts. Like for example, if I show you this Microsoft financial statement, let's say. So yeah, this is like General Motors financial statement. Yesterday we were discussing about this. Right. So this is 10K. 10K is basically annual filing form in the US for with the SEC. So these are like financial statement of General Motors. You can see so. And if you see here, like we in the financial statement, they provide like overview of business, risk factor, unresolved staff comment, like they were having certain litigation, and then proprietary thing, legal proceeding, mining safety disclosures, all those disclosure which is required from the company standpoint of view, not from the auditor standpoint of view. This first part has nothing to do with CPA. Part 2 is market of registrant, common equity related stakeholder, like who all are shareholder, how many shares they have issued during the year, all this information, and then selected financial data. And this one is important, this management discussion and analysis. So this part is important, which as an auditor, we also take a read of it. We do not sign on it, but we take a read of it to ensure the information provided in MDA is in line with our financial statement. Because here, if you go to this page, respective page, later on whenever you have time, you will see a lot of financial data also. So here, as an auditor, we take a read so that the number which has been given in MDA is in line with the financial statement. Next one is, if you see in the financial statement, is the quantitative and qualitative disclosure about the market risk. This is also has nothing to do with. Then 8th item is financial statement and supplement data. So here onward, you will see the auditor stuff. So your income statement, right? Your balance sheet, current assets, non-current assets, current liability, non-current liability, equity statement, and then your cash flow statement, and then after your respective notes to accounts, right? This is how your overall financial statement looks like. I have already shared this yesterday with you, and this is your homework to go through the 10K, either of General Motors or Microsoft, whatever you like it. So now coming back here, so applicable financial reporting framework. This is like this financial statement of General Motors are based on US GAAP, right? They need to adhere to those US GAAP and they need to make the disclosures accordingly. What is current asset should be coming in current asset. What is current liability should be coming in current liability. What is non-current asset should be coming here, right? And then you will see like recognition measurement. Have you heard about like for inventory management, LIFO method, FIFO method, weighted average method? Have you heard
Yes,
about
sir.
that? Right?
Last in, first out, and first in, first out.
Yeah, absolutely true. From where they are coming? They are coming from the respective accounting standard, right? So those accounting standard clubbed together when you make up financial statement are called financial reporting framework. Right? Same way, like in revenue, you might have seen like point in time recognition of revenue, over the period of time recognition of revenue, right? Classification of current assets, current liability. So these all rules, regulation, measurement, recognition, presentation, and disclosure, from where they are coming from the respective accounting standard, whether it's like US GAAP, IFRS, NDS, or any other special purpose accounting. So that is called financial reporting framework. And company need to give a disclosure which financial reporting framework they are using. So in US, it is being allowed to follow US GAAP, and they are also allowed for listed company can follow the IFRS also. But they need to give the disclosure which GAAP they are following, right? Next one is FASB. So we discussed earlier about the FASB when we were discussing about that AICP umbrella, right? So what FASB actually do, they issue, or you can say promulgate, the general accepted accounting principle, that is US GAAP. So FASB is basically a board in which the member, they promulgate, or you can say draft, the accounting standards, US GAAPs, right? What is generally accepted accounting principle? What is US GAAP? Again, accounting principles and standards and specific convention, which include like rules, regulation, and define the accepted accounting practices. For example, like ASC 606. Have you heard about ASC 606? Revenue recognition?
Yes, sir. Yes.
So I know some of you have taken like FAR classes also. So what ASC 606 says? So they lay down 5-step model for the recognition of revenue, right? That is comes under the GAAP. So GAAP, what GAAP actually issue? GAAP actually issue the respective accounting standards. Same way in India also, you have seen like Indian accounting standard, and now you might have seen like IND-AS, which is in line with IFRS, right? So they have separate standard for inventory, they have standard for revenue recognition, right? They have standard for leases, they have standard for hedge accounting, right? Same way in US also. So like ASC 606 is on revenue recognition, ASC 842, that is on leases, right? ASC 326, that is on credit loss, right? Same way like in ASC 220, that's for like inventory management. So there are different accounting standard codification, which all together make US GAAP, right? And those US GAAP actually give you the way of treating a respective transaction. They will give you some convention, they will give you certain rules, they will give you certain principle, they will define like the acceptable accounting practice in the industry. So those all comes under the GAAP, and these GAAPs are issued by the FASB, right? How they issue FASB? By doing the codification. So in US GAAP, it is called accounting standard codification. So like in India, we say IND-AS or Indian Accounting Standard. In IFRS, we say IFRS, right? But in US, the accounting standard is called ASC, which full form is Accounting Standard Codification, right? And this is, you can say highest level of, you can say for accounting matter. You know, like in your exams, you will see multiple choice question about any particular question. They will give you different option for those answer, and the objective of that question is the which one is the highest, you can say which pronouncement or which standard or which you can say codification you will be considered the best one to resolve any accounting matter. So in that case of scenario, in that type of question, you will see accounting standard codification is the highest credential, right? Which will be the, you can say the number one in terms of hierarchy level. Like for example, like in India, if you see, we have accounting standard, and then we have certain interpretation to the accounting standard. Then we have certain, you can say, case studies for those respective accounting matter, and then we have certain literature as well. Same way in US, like here, if you need to give the reference when you are, you can say, giving any opinion on when you are resolving any case study, and you need to give the reference. So which one is the best reference? So best reference, same way how in India we give to the accounting standard when we are resolving any case or when we are giving an opinion on accounting matter. Same way in US, when you are giving an opinion on any accounting matter, then accounting standard codification has the highest weight, right? After that, there are certain interpretation, right? So there are certain rules and interpretation released by SEC, AICPA, FASB on like GAAP as well, right? And in addition to that, there are certain, you can say, interpretation for the GAAP, which is being issued by the SEC staff as well. That is called Staff Accounting Bulletin. So every month they release Staff Accounting Bulletin, which give more interpretation of the respective accounting matter from the SEC standpoint of view, right? But these are just the bulletin, but they are not the codification. So you can like for accounting matter, if you do not have any clear guidance in, let's say, in accounting standard codification, then you can go to these bulletin. Then you can go to those press release, which is being issued by AICPA or SEC staff. And you can see, you can give the reference there. The SEC staff has given this interpretation for this specific matter. Because nowadays, like accounting is getting day by day more and more complex. You know, if you see like 5 years back, or maybe like 10 years back, you might have not seen the company as big like Amazon, right? Google, Facebook, Intel, right? So you might have not seen like WhatsApp, right? You have not seen Instagram. You might have not seen like company like Bharat Pay, right? PayPal. You might have not seen these kind of Bitcoin. Have you heard about these 10 years ago? No. And now like new NFTs are coming. So all these new things which are coming in the world, they are evolving the accounting as well. You know, now it's no more straightforward accounting for all these complex, you can say, business models, right? For the Bitcoin, how do you do the accounting of the Bitcoin? For the NFTs, how do you do the accounting for the NFTs, right? There's no much precedence to that, right? And there is no clear accounting standards codification to how to deal with those complex accounting matters. Then probably you need to go further level down. You need to look at guidance in IFRS. You need to look at the guidance in SEC bulletins. You need to look at the guidance in other authoritative literatures, right? But those literature is also important, but not give as much as great value as the ASCs. Right? Make sense? नींद तो
Yes,
नहीं आ रही तुम लोगों को?
Yes.
I know offline more difficult. It's hard to guess like are you guys with me or not?
And also, it's very difficult sitting offline. Listen, listen and not do. Just listen, look at the screen. ठीक है.
Okay, I can hear you. How about you, Sandeep, Gurmehar?
fine,
Yes,
sir.
Yesterday's session was, I would say, a better experience.
Yeah, honestly,
It's feeling like I'm still working for UI
yeah.
on Sunday.
with the
Sitting in front
with the
of laptop.
with the new senior manager.
Yeah.
No, sir, I think that's why I recommend people, if they stay nearby, they should sit together and study. It's easier because you still have that environment.
Yep.
Today I realized that.
Yeah. How about you, Khushi, Garima? So far, so good.
Yes.
Yes.
Cool. Are you enjoying lecture or you're feeling bored?
No, we're just trying to grasp things as
Yes,
quickly as possible.
Yeah. So that cool. Stay tuned. Sometime like in between, you can come on video, guys, and raise your question or maybe like ask for any clarification. With that, I can feel yes, you are with me. Otherwise, I need to see like, are you guys with me or not?
Sir, this is the hierarchy we need to follow now, sir. Accounting standard codification, as you mentioned in the book.
Yes.
So this is the hierarchy we need to follow.
Yes, absolutely true. So there are like industry practices, FASB concept statement, AICP also like issue certain paper, and sometimes like there are not much clarification in ASC, then we can take the reference of IFRS as well. That's also allowed. Like then pronouncements, inquiries, reply, textbook. Yeah. So this 1 to 7 is the hierarchy, or you can say the other literature available which you can consider. Right. Next one is Government Accounting Standard Board. So this is GAASB, like how we discuss about FASB, which give you the accounting standard for you can say non-issuer. Same way, GAASB, and that's also an independent authority, independent body, which issue similar to FASB, issue the accounting standard for the government companies, right? So this, if you go back, you may see here, GAASB team also work very closely with the AICP, if you have seen here. So GAASB team also work very closely with the AICP to promulgate the accounting standard for the governmental companies, right? Yeah, there you go. Right. So GAASB is also an independent authoritative body under the oversight of FASB, right? And the Governmental Advisory Council. So it's a mix of FASB, or you can say AICP people, and the Government Advisory Council people of the Financial Accounting Foundation. So it's combination of the people from AICPA and the Government Advisory Council, and they put together, make a body or a board or a committee. It's called GAASB, and they promulgate the accounting standard for the government companies, right? And it is also recognized by the AICPA, like we were discussing earlier, and it is a body authorized to promulgate the standard for governmental units, right? Next one is United States Government Accountability Office. So here, like other time, in many of the questions, you will see only the General Accounting Office or Government Accountability Office. They're also known as GAO, Government Accountability Office, or General Accounting Office. So in question, you may see like interchangeable term, right? But what exactly they do? They do like it's a body authorized to promulgate the standard that must be followed in the audit of the recipient of the federal financial assistance. So yesterday we were discussing there are 3 types of company, right? Issuers, non-issuers, or government, right? So when you are doing the audit of government company, when you are doing the audit of a government company, you need to adhere to their auditing standard, which is being issued by Government Accountability Office. So for private company, audit standard is being issued by whom? Are you guys with
GAASB.
me? No.
Government
AICP. AICP, right? And for the issuer, auditing standard is being issued by whom?
SEC.
Yeah. And for the government audit, it is from Government Accountability Office. So the auditing standard is being issued by Government Accountability Office to conduct the audit of government unit, and the trust, societies, NGO, or maybe any other company who has received the federal financial assistance from the government. To do the audit of those respective funds, you need to follow the government auditing standard issued by Government Accountability Office, right? These standards are.
So GAAS do issue anything, sir? GAAS,
GAASB issue accounting standard.
Then GAO?
They issue auditing standard.
Okay, accounting auditing. Okay.
Auditing standards are being issued by AICPA for issuer.
Non-issuer.
By AICPA, right?
AICPA for non-issuer.
Okay.
PCAOB, which comes under SEC, they issued for issuer.
PCAOB. Okay.
Right.
Okay.
And
for auditing standards.
Yes, auditing standard. We are talking about auditing standard, right? And for the government entity issued by Government Accountability Office.
Okay.
Right. So the standards are for the audit of government organization, program, activity, function, funds received by any entity from the government. So then you need to follow governmental auditing standard, and these authority derive from the position as a federal agency. So Government Accountability Office is a federal agency. That means it's a, like in India we call central government, in US it is called federal government, right? So these are interchangeable words. So we'll be using federal word rather than central. So I know being an Indian we are used to central, but now we are doing CPA, let's use to federal, right? So these all are, this is actually a federal agency. Government Accountability Office is a federal agency, right? The Government Accountability Office report directly to the Congress. So Congress is not like Indian Congress. In US, Congress is called to the legislative bench, or you can say executive bench, like Rajya Sabha and Lok Sabha, how we have in India, right? So to the parliament, they call.
I have a question, sir.
Yeah,
sir, while doing the government audits, is there any kind of leniency that we will have to go through, or we will have to adhere to our or stick to our policies and procedures? Like, is there any kind of
additional restrictions? Yes. You should have additional learning requirements, compliance. Then only you are able to work on government audits.
Yeah. Government audit are even all the more stringent. So here you are not in for the government audit, you are not only reporting to the financial statement, you must have to report for the internal control, you must have to report on the compliance of law, regulation, and the federal assistance requirement. Like when you do the borrowings, you have to adhere to certain covenant, right? Like bank also, when you take like working capital loan, let's say from any bank, then bank asks you to maintain certain current level of current assets, certain level of current liability should not be more than this, and your profitability should be this much, so on and so forth. Same way, when the government give you the grant, when government give you the financial assistance, they will ask you to how you need to utilize that grant, and what all protocol you need to maintain while utilizing those grant or federal assistance, right? So in addition to financial audit, you need to ensure the compliance of the assistance which you have received, which the entity has received, rules and regulations of the government for the respective grant, and the internal controls relating to that respective financial assistance. So these are more stringent than normal financial statement
audit. Okay, got it.
Right. Okay, so next one is International Accounting Standard Board, IASB. So IASB issue IFRS, right? FASB issue US GAAP, GAASB issue Governmental Accounting Standard, and IASB issue IFRS, right? So these terminologies are clear in mind. If you go back here, Here also we have seen these authority bodies. FASB for GAAP, GAASB for government, ASB for IFRS. Right? That's the main thing. And let's get into here. Yeah, International Accounting Standard Board. So this is an independent not-for-profit organization which is working for the public interest. What they do, they issue International Financial Reporting Standard, right? It's the principal objective of SB is to develop a single set of high quality, understandable, enforceable, and globally accepted international financial reporting standard. So if you have seen in last decade, SB has played an extremely significant role in the centralization, or you can say syncing the overall accounting across the globe. If you have seen like more than, or you can say other than US, almost all part of the world, either they are following IFRS or their accounting standard are in line with IFRS with some 5 or 10% changes. Right? If you see in India also, we follow Ind AS, which is like more than 90% aligned with IFRS. So they have played a significant role in last decade to bring all over the world economy in the same place for the accounting matters. So now if you see like financial statement of Indian company is very much comparable to the financial statement of Europe company, Australia company, New Zealand company, China company, or anywhere else. Now you can easily do apple to apple comparison of the financial statement, right? Earlier it was difficult. You know, some companies in different part of the world, some countries follow different rules and regulation for accounting, right? It was very difficult for big companies when they are doing mergers, acquisition, expansion of their business for the respective part of the world. They are facing a big challenge in terms of accounting matters. And they will be involving huge teams, spending huge amount of money for the consultation on the respective accounting matter. But IASB has played a really significant role in last 10 decades, at least I have seen in my experience. They have played extremely very significant role in bringing all the world in same accounting platform, which is extremely a big challenge and commendable work which they have done, right? So they issue time and again like updates on IFRS. They issue, you can say, pronouncements. They also promote and rigorously application of those standards to the respective part of the world, and special reporting, you can say, framework they have for SMEs as well. So they have certain relaxation for small companies as well in terms of IFRS implication, and they also provide the guidance on the conversion as well. So like if you have seen in last 5 years in India also, when we were converting from Ind AS to IFRS, Indian Accounting Standard to IFRS, and we are forming Ind AS. So there also like ICAI has worked very closely with the IASB in developing those conversion standards as well. Have any of you heard about Ind AS? Or any of you have worked on Ind AS or conversion of Ind AS?
Not on conversion, but yes. Otherwise, 117 leases.
I've actually read about it in our college days. That was part of our syllabus in 𝐵Com honors.
Yeah. I can totally understand. But like in 5 years, so if you have seen like complete Indian, the way we were doing accounting with the earlier accounting standard has completely changed, right? And that IASB has played the significant role for that as well, right? Next one is generally accepted auditing standard. This has been issued by the Accounting Standard Board, ASB. So now earlier we were discussing accounting standard for US company, which is US GAAP, issued by FASB, government company issued by GAASB, and for IFRS issued by IASB. Now we are moving into auditing standard. Auditing standard comes from ASB for the non-issuer, which is Auditing Standard Board. Like if you go back here in this fantastic tabular format, here you have seen this one, second one, Auditing Standard Board. So this also come under the AICPA committee, right? They issue the auditing standard for the non-issuer. For the issuer, it is coming from PCOB, and for the governmental, it is coming from Government Accountability Office, right? These are called Statement of Auditing Standard. So GAAS are called Statement of Auditing Standard. In US, we have 10 Statement of Auditing Standard. Those are issued by SB, right? The compliance with the standards rules of AICPA Code of Professional Conduct, it required AICPA member who performed the audit of non-issuer. So this says Statement of Auditing Standard is being followed to audit the non-issuer, right? In general, GAAS requirement are, keep in mind, few things are very much common, even though it's being common in like whether you are doing governmental audit or you are doing you can say issuer audit, but I think these are very much common thing as an essence of the auditing standard. One is professional skepticism, right? Second is ethical requirements for you to adhere to being an independent, right? And adhere to code of conduct, code of ethics issued by AICPA. Third one is like professional judgment. So make sure whenever you are evaluating the estimates and judgment of the management, you should be applying the professional judgment independently, right? And then sufficient and appropriate audit evidence. I think we covered this. What is sufficient and appropriate audit evidence? You guys remember?
Yes, sir. Sufficiency relates to in quantity. Appropriate means to what extent it covers.
Yeah, quality of the document.
Well, yes, exactly. Quality.
Yeah, that's very true. And compliance with the GAAS. So these all things, as an auditor, when we are doing audit for non-issuer, we need to keep in mind, and these are very much common for the public company as well as for the government company. Now, statement of auditing standard. What are statement of auditing standard? GAAS are interpreted and expanded upon in SAS. So this generally accepted auditing standard are being actually interpreted in statement of auditing standard. So statement of auditing standard is actually explaining or giving the detail about the respective auditing standard. They provide the detailed guidance which is needed in all the 10 GAAS we have in US, and this 10 standard comes in AU codification 200. So AU means auditing, C means codification, and 200 is the number of the codification in which this all GAAS comes under, right? Overall objective of the independent auditor and conduct the audit is in accordance with the generally accepted auditing standard. And statement of standard for accounting and review service. So this is next one. So if you go back to again to the same chart where I have summarized all these things, all those dots which we are explaining here is being very well connected with this chart. If you see the first one, ARSC, right? Accounting and Review Service Committee, they issue SARS. What is SARS? Statement on Standard for Accounting and Review Services. When you are performing a review engagement, you will be following SARS. So here you need to keep in mind three things. One second. Okay, we covered this. Yeah. So here you need to keep in mind three things. When you are doing the audit engagement, you need to follow GAAS. You need to follow SAS. When you are doing a review engagement, you need to follow SARS, which is Statement on Standard for Accounting and Review Services. So when you are doing compilation engagement or when you are doing a review engagement, you need to follow SARS. But when you are doing attestation engagement, which is like examination or agreed upon procedure, then you need to follow SSAE, right? So we'll be coming one by one to that also. So statement on standard for accounting and review services. So these are actually standard which is, you can say, promulgating the detail of accounting, which is like your compilation service, and review services rendered in connection with unaudited financial statement. These are not audited financial statement or unaudited financial information of the entity and is not required to file with any regulator, right? So when you will be following SSARS, when you are giving any, when you are performing the review engagement or accounting engagement, or you can say the compilation engagement, in those case of scenario, you will be following SSARS. So in many multiple choice question, you will be given the facts that you, let's say, Ayush is a CPA and he got an assignment from Jatin and company to perform the compilation of their financial statement. So which you can say which standard that Jatin need to follow. So Jatin, whether they Ayush need to follow, whether Ayush need to follow SAS, whether Ayush need to follow SSARS, whether Ayush need to follow GAAS, whether Ayush need to follow SSAEs. So these kind of multiple choice question you may expect around these, right? So then if it is a review engagement, if it is an accounting engagement, or if it is a compilation engagement, you will be following SSARS, right? Next one is government auditing standard. Government auditing standard, like we will discuss earlier also, is being issued by Government Accountability Office. This is also called Yellow Book. The government auditing standard has been issued by Comptroller General in United States, is known as Government Accountability Office, and these audit standards must follow for the audit of federal organization, programs, activity, function, funds, government entity, or any grant received by the contractor, not-for-profit organization, or any other external organization. And these standards are recommended for the use of audit of state and local government organization, program, activity, and function. What actually this government auditing standard are? Government auditing standard, they consider AICPA GAAS as the base. And in addition to that, if you have seen this particular thing, this will give you the this one. If you can like just highlight in your notes. Government auditing standard is basically based on AICPA GAAS. In addition to that, they will add the review for compliance with applicable law and regulation. In addition to that, they will add external reporting for the instance indication of fraud. And lastly, they will add report on the entity's internal control structure. So you need to follow the AICPA GAAS. In addition to that, when you are doing the audit of government companies or the financial assistance received from the government by any agency, and if you are doing the audit of those financial assistance, then you need to follow the GAAS, AICPA GAAS, then plus review for the compliance of applicable law and regulation, and then external reporting instance or indication of the fraud, right? And lastly, internal control. So you need to keep in mind all these four things when you are auditing for the government companies or the company who has received any grant or fund from the government agency.
So basically, this Government Accountability Office, the standards which it is issuing is basically they have picked it from, like, it's a combination of all these four things.
Yes, absolutely true. Absolutely true. So they have taken AICPA GAAS as a base,
Okay.
and they have top up with the additional requirement.
Okay. Okay.
Right? Make sense?
Makes sense.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Franchly, Gurmihar, Jaspreet, Rajat.
All good, sir. All good.
All
Yeah,
good?
sir.
Work.
All good.
Okay. We are coming closer to break. Don't feel down.
I think our friends will be active when we have a small quiz.
Huh?
Our friends will be active when we have a small quiz.
Okay, like that would be from like next session, because as of now, like this yesterday's session and today's session is kind of foundational session. To be very honest, we have
Exactly,
not,
sir.
yeah, we have not come to any chapter yet. To be very honest, so we are just building the foundation in which you'll be learning in next 10 weeks the entire audit section,
Yes, sir.
right? So yeah, in next class we'll definitely do the quiz and questions for sure. Okay, now jump into the attestation engagement. So far we have covered a lot about audit, right? Now let's jump into the attestation. This is also very important section, and most of the time student you can say get confused between the audit and attestation engagement. The reason being they focus more studying on audit, considering this is an audit examination. But to be very honest, you will get significant amount of question from attestation engagement as well. So you can, and in those questions, people get confused because they do not pay much attention to this. And in your practical life also, in future, attestation engagement also play a significant role, or will give you a significant amount of money with the less risk, right? Audit is the highest risk profession in the world, whereas like attestation, review, compilation are comparatively very less risky engagements to do, and consultation is very less risky stuff. That's the reason if you see now world's top consulting firm, they are more focusing into the consultation service than audit service, because audit is day by day getting much higher risk, and the penalties, whether like AI, CPA or PCOB put, is extremely bad. In India, you have seen in back in 2008, like Satyam scam. Have you heard about that?
Yes.
PwC were doing the audit of
Yeah.
Satyam, and in 2008 they get into some scam. Have you heard about that? And in 2018 they got the judgment from PCOB, and PwC has got banned for 3 years. They cannot do any listed audit. And you know, like they have paid $20 million as a penalty, and the partner who was signing the Satyam is still in jail.
Right.
It's like day by day getting more risky, the audit profession. But this attestation, review, compilation, consultation services, they are comparatively less risky and give you more financial benefits as well.
Yeah. Okay.
Don't take it lightly. This is all